close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name's Carl Smith from the UK Hypnosis Academy, and I hope you're well. I hope you're fine. Tonight, as ever, I tell you that I'm going to bring you world-class trainers from around the globe that are going to offer you something different. And guess what we've got tonight? Something completely different. Now, it's quite interesting, actually, and Anne will sit there and giggle in a moment when I introduce it, is that this has come up as a bit of Marmite. I've had, oh, amazing, I can't wait, to what a load of mumbo jumbo. Now, everything that we do in this profession's mumbo jumbo as far as I'm concerned, right? So at the end of the day, we're going to ask Anne, who's a expert in this field, who loves this field, who's wrote books on it, has worked with some top celebrities and stuff like that, and you know, done some amazing things. So welcome, Anne, to everything, to the channel. How are you?
I'm actually really good. Yeah, buzzing. Yeah, I'm really good. I've been good for the last 18 months because I've just ignored everything and lived in denial, which is the best way to be, I think, sometimes. Live in denial, carry on. Yeah, I'm really good. Yeah, I'm on form. I feel good.
Oh, good. So well, that's the main thing, you know. Don't worry about the other bastards and all that type of stuff. Yeah. This lot are used to me swearing, by the way, not that I tend to swear. And you know me, Anne. That's the key thing. So what we tend to do is we've got about 35 people watching us at the moment. That'll increase as we move along because some people haven't got military timing like us. You know, we turn up at past, you know. Some people are like sitting there going, well, I've got to put the kids to bed. Leave them. Let them do it themselves. That's what I say. Anyway, so let's do the shout outs for tonight. Levi's first out of the traps tonight. Well done, buddy. Hope you're well. Hope you're fine. Carol, hope you're well. Hope you're fine. James Vanston, hope you're well. Hope you're fine. Where are we next? Beata, hope you're well, sweetheart. Hope you're well. Colette, good morning to you in New Zealand. I hope you're well. Hope you're fine. Stevie Barker, I hope you're well in sunny Dorset, my old fruit. Eric, I hope you're well. Hope you're fine, buddy, over there. Where else we got next? James over in Bulgaria. John Hudson, Mario, hope you're well. Jules Derrick, hope you're well. Jackie Brennan, hope you're well. John Carey, hope you're well. David McHugh, hope you're well. Levent, I'll just leave it like that. Cynthia, I hope you're well, sweetheart. I hope you're well. Missed you this year, sweetheart. Hope you're well. Tracy Ryan, hope you're well. Don't forget, guys, if you are using Facebook, we're using StreamYard at the present moment in time. Allow Facebook to utilize it because I have got a Facebook user there. Let me just pump this up. If you don't allow StreamYard to do it, that's what happens. Whoever wrote that, you've got to go back into it or come watch us on YouTube. Ronald Perry, I hope you're well. Michael Milson, hope you're well. Atina, hope you're well. Whoever's Facebook user there, you need to either come to our YouTube channel or let Facebook use the thing. Who's that? Eddie. Nunna, how you getting on? Dennis Annie over in Nigeria. I hope you're well. Facebook user who said hi. Thanks very much. Don't forget, let Facebook use it. Janice Greer, hope you're well. Hope you're fine. And I think that's about it, really. La Maggie, hope you're well. Bonsoir. Hope you're fine. Sididi over in Morocco. Hope you're well, dude. Hope you're well. Where is Ronald? Ronald's over in in Canada. So there we go. And Michael's over in Michigan. And Sylvia. Oh, sweetheart. I hope you're well at Martha's Vineyard. So I hope you're well. So I hope I captured everybody just then. And don't forget, if you are using Facebook, don't forget to come do that. Don't forget, guys, if you want to, we're doing this live every night at 7:30. If you go to my YouTube channel, which is UK Hypnosis Academy, let me just get out of the way. That one there, UK Hypnosis Academy, and go to our YouTube channel. You can subscribe and join our membership scheme there. So only $5, $9, or $90 if you want to have a session with me once a month. And that reminds me, we will be doing the lucky winner of tomorrow's mentoring is the McHughes. So we will do that tomorrow after the show. All right, so tonight we're going to be talking about, hi Wendy Cheverton, hope you're fine, grounded hypnosis, hope you're well. We're going to be talking about future life progression. We're going to be talking about what is it, what is that, and you know, and we're going to ask Anne now, who's been a very good friend of mine, and she's been a confidant of mine. She's been a good mentor, and she's always stuck her neck out and always made sure that I'm fine, and I like looking out for her as well. Lindsay Dennison, hope you're well. So yes, so it's great to have Anne on. So Anne, do you want to tell the masses that are going to watch this right now, what is future life?
Right. Well, future life progression, it's slipping around in time. So I came into it because I wanted to learn past life regression, and there wasn't, you couldn't just Google things. You've got to remember, I'm an old girl. I've been around a long time. So a long time ago, no internet. I couldn't find anybody that even did regression, and I was really fascinated by it. Even if it's what the Irish call a make it up, it really gets to something. It really brings up some amazing information. So what I did was eventually Denise Lynn come over from America, did 800 people in a room. It was mind blowing. So I went off and trained in hypnosis, and I've only learned hypnotherapy so that I just thought I ought to have some sort of certificate. I mean, I don't bother these days, but then you felt you have to have a certificate. I don't care now. People paper their walls with them, didn't they? So many. Who cares? So yes, I went and trained in hypnotherapy, and I had hypnotherapy once, and it was when I was really young, and I'd blagged a job that I couldn't do. I'm being honest. I blagged a job I couldn't do, and you needed amazing mathematics skills. Again, you know, just going back pre-internet, and I couldn't do the basics. I went and had hypnosis. I went to this guy, and he hypnotized me and helped me with it, and it worked. It was work, so I knew it worked. So anyway, with future life progression, how I'll explain it is how it happened. I was not looking for this at all. I had a good, successful practice. I'm taking people into paths. I'm stopping people smoking, blah, blah, blah. I work for a lot of addictions because I'm in a very addictive area that I live in. There's a lot of addiction problems. Just carried on with that. Then one day, some military guys came to see me, and they wanted me to take them back. And I spent a long time. They kept turning up week after week and take regressors. And it was weird because they wouldn't come in together, but they kept seeing the same thing over and over. They would both be Vikings. Another time, they'd both be Native Americans. Every week, there was some epic story. You know what soldiers like. So anyway, I taught them regression, and they started regressing each other and said that they'd see me in one of the regressions. And they wanted to know something about the past. They felt there was some key from the past. So what I did was I brought in somebody else to take me and the lads back to the past life we'd all shared to see if it gives us a clue. Is there something we're meant to know from that? And all three of us jumped forward, and we saw the attack on the Twin Towers. All three of us described it in different ways. We all described it, and we just thought nonsense, you know, because what we were looking for didn't happen. So we just thought, this is a load of nonsense. And we went up the pub. That's what you do with soldiers, isn't it? The session didn't work out. Got up the pub. We went and had a curry, went up the pub, had a few beers. That was it. Of course, 3 weeks later, there was the attack, and we were kind of shocked because there was nothing, we didn't know enough to stop it. And it's like Mark Twain said, what's the point of seeing it if you can't change it? What's the point? So, but after a while, we started to experiment, and regularly we would take people, we would go and look at the future, particularly me and Dave. They still keep in touch, the lads. They bring their children up to see me. We've ended up really good friends. All the last 20 years of seeing each other. And after that, we kept consistently predicting world events. So one of the first sessions was me with Dave, and Dave said, I'm seeing America invade Iraq. And we actually laughed. It sounded ludicrous at the time. It doesn't now, but at the time it sounded ludicrous. Then he said they are going to say they have chemical weapons, but they know they don't. And this continued. Then one of the big names in hypnotherapy, heard about it and said, I want to look at what you're doing. You've got to write down everything. You've got to date it. So we started to do that. Then he got involved in a few sessions. Then I started to take clients forward. Now, this is the bit that really changed my life completely. So I started to take clients forward 5 years. I was experimenting on them, and they'd say, and I'm glad you know what you're doing. I'm thinking, I don't know if I do know what I'm doing, but let's experiment with this. And I kept taking people forward 5 years. And this is the bit that got me. They would say at five years' time, they saw themselves in a house. 6 months later, they'd contact me and go, I'm in that house, I'm it, or that job, or I've met that girl, or whatever it was. That got me, because I'm impatient. I know I shouldn't be, but I am impatient. Oh, I'm a Leo. You know what Leos are like. We're bloody impatient. And the fact that you could fast track the best of your future really got me. So I don't blame people for thinking it's kibosh. I would if I hadn't had the experiences that I've had. But so 3 times, including the house I'm in right now, 3 times I've moved into properties that I'd seen, didn't know where they were, had no idea, weren't planning on moving. I've ended up in 3. One of them didn't exist at the time I saw it, and it's very unusual, very, very unusual. So I constantly take people forward, look at future trends in industries. My life really changed dramatically. I started to go forward myself, and I saw certain things happen. Within months, my life had changed from that dusty little office in Slough, which was in a bad part of Slough. So though Slough's bad, this is a bad part of bloody Slough.
I was thinking to comment then. I was thinking to say then, what part of Slough? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I used to worry about my clients parking their cars outside. There's all the little tykes looking in the car. And the guy had a business that backed onto ours. He used to sit by my door and smoke weed, and it'd come under the door, and I'd have to bang on the door and go, Julian, go and smoke weed somewhere else. And it was just a mad place. I went from there to Bray, bang, within months. Within months, I had this major book deal. Now, you know, free book deal, you don't get things like that when you're from Slough and you're uneducated. It just does. Victoria Beckham came, but everything took off. And I've had the same with clients over and over. We consistently see the future. It's not the odd fluke. We consistently see the future. The problem is we don't understand time. So our logical brain's going to go, of course you can't see the future. But the remote viewers, and I'm sure you know about remote viewers, I mean, obviously they're military people. They said glimpsing the past and glimpsing the future is just as easy. To them, it's no different. And the experiment the military have conducted under Stargate have been phenomenal results. So what I would say is I don't mind if people are skeptical. I don't really blame them, but I'd say look into it or keep your mind open. One thing I will say, yeah, go on, sorry.
I was going to say, do people categorize it the same way as past life regression in some ways? Yeah, do they leave it in that pile over there?
Yeah.
You know, because look, I know most people, I know you know me as well, but the key thing for me is that I don't really, it's not that I don't believe, it's just a case of it doesn't fit with my model. You know me anyway, but it doesn't fit with my model. So I would rather send somebody who wants to do this to you. I would rather send somebody who wants to do past life over to somebody else. But is this a learned skill or an adaptive skill? Is this something that people are born with, or can you attune to?
Right. I find that people that come and train with me get it. They kind of understand the concept. It's like you're saying you don't get it. There's a whole load of stuff. I refer more people than I see. Absolutely. I mean, people are heartbroken. I send them to Beryl coma. I'm constantly passing people over. If they've got trauma, I send them to you guys. There's a whole bunch of stuff I don't, you know, if they've had a terrible experience. There's a whole bunch of stuff I don't. So, but the people who come kind of understand that you can slip around in time, that time doesn't work how we think it works. And when you start looking at the evidence, there's a huge amount of evidence that you can glimpse the future. That there is actually a huge, do you know, like when there's, this was an old study, but it's an amazing study. They studied train crashes, and they found when a train that's crashed 25% less people have shown up for it. And I experienced this with my own husband. Gets up. He's one of these, because we're not morning people. So get up, that's it, drink tea, outdoor, catch the same train every day. And one day he got up, went, I'm going to go in later. And he never does that. And I went, why? And he went, I'm going to go in later. He actually looked a bit sort of befuddled with it. And that was the day the tube got bombed. And he would have been on it. That was that day. This happens.
7/7.
Yeah. This isn't something that rarely happens. 25% is a huge figure. So when you start looking into people kind of getting little intuition or dreaming, 25% of people that win the lottery have dreamt the numbers. So we can glimpse the future. One thing that I find is military people are much more open. I've had so many military, but also people are really big in business. The higher up they are, the more open they are. And I think it's just because something in their brain is always going, I need to check stuff out. I want to be ahead of everybody else. If this works for me, I'm going to go for it. So it's quite interesting that the range of people, but military people seem to have an understanding. I've never met a military person that hasn't said, I woke up that day and knew something was going to go down. I knew something was around that corner.
I think from coming from a policing background and a military background, I think there is some substance in that. And I'll tell you for why. I think as a copper, you could be sitting there, and any police officer that's watching this now, and I know military people are the same as well, and it comes down to gut intuition. I work from my gut predominantly. Everything, when I'm working with people, I haven't got a fucking clue where it comes from sometimes. People ask me, if you got a template? No, I just fucking hoover up what's going on in front of me. But when you're a police officer, you could be sat there, right? And I used to do this all the time. You'd be sat there, right? And two shit heap cars would go past you. Then all of a sudden, a brand new Porsche would go past, and it wasn't jealousy. And you'd go, there's something wrong with that car. There's something wrong there. There is something wrong with that car. There could be two cars that are just full of youngsters, loud music, and you don't know there's nothing wrong there. But then that Porsche with the one person in it, and you tug it, and then you find something. There was something wrong with that car, And it's not to just globally say that if somebody's got a brand new car that they're a drug dealer or something like that. But there are, that you do get these gut feelings of things that are going on. I used to get that all the time, and I think I've brought that and amplified that in this world. It's like I said, it's not my bag what you do, but that's the reason we've got you on. But I do with trauma, but I work with my intuition and my gut feeling and the way that I work in this world. So I do get what you're saying, and I do get about military, and there's a few people that that I hope are watching this that are ex-military or police officer friends or anyone of that ilk that would contact you, because I know that there is some substance on that. And we've just got a couple of things come through, so this should spark conversation. What do you do if a client sees negative aspects of their future? This is from Colette down in New Zealand.
Colette, that's it. Very few people ask that. And the ones that do are usually water signs, usually Pisces or Scorpio. I don't know what sign you are, but there's certain signs. I'll ask that question. One of the things I preempt, when you're working with somebody, you preempt. I always say, you will see what you need to see. You won't see anything negative unless there's something you can change about it. Now, what we're mainly looking at, what people ask, they want to know, am I going to meet a fella? Am I going to move house? Am I going to get a better job? What do I need to do to make my business take off? So if we're looking at 5 and 10 years in the future, there is a chance Aunt Fifi's died in that time, or had an accident, or fallen downstairs. We don't look at that. We're not focusing on that. There's no reason to. We want to know what that person needs to know. What do we know? Talk to your future self. What can your future self tell you? So not very often, very, very rarely, I do take them through different futures and go, supposing there's a better one, supposing there's better there, what can we change? If you was to see something, obviously somebody's going to lose their job, they might get made redundant, they're heartbroken, you go, okay, you're pre-warned, you can start preparing for that now. What can you do to change it? So you can often use it to help people.
Happy days. Okay, so cool. So Right, this is no disrespect to Anne, but actually, I watched Family Guy the other day, and if you haven't seen Family Guy, the multiverse, you need to go watch it. It's quite funny.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, but somebody it just flicked up in my head when I've just read this here. If you haven't seen Family Guy multiverse, go watch it.
Never watched
Anne,
Family Guy. I've never watched it. Yeah.
yeah. Anne, what is your take on multiverse and remote viewing?
Remote viewing's proven. I mean, there's nothing to argue with. I mean, the tests they've done, the amount of double-blind testing they've done on remote viewing. I mean, the American government wouldn't have put that much money into it. From what I gather, I was trained in remote viewing many years ago. It was fascinating. And the weird thing is, the guy that trained us vanished off the face of the earth afterwards. We never saw him again. But there's me and the soldier lads all trotted off, went on these series of trainings, and it is weird that, I mean, all they do is give you a code, and the code could be C67, and then they fire questions at you. You're writing it all down. You just have to quickly ask: is it inside, outside? Is it a structure? Is it this? Is it that? Blah, 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 blah. Bang, and then you do a quick sketch, and the accuracy is astonishing. But I'll just tell you quick, because there was the weirdest experience years ago, and I will tell you it. There was a girl, I'm not going to tell you her name because things happen. She was, there was a documentary that was taking the mickey out of remote viewing. And they heard about this girl. She was like a proper hick farmer's wife, uneducated, but she heard about it and just went on a course and turned out to be one of the best ever. She was just a natural. And this documentary actually gave her a target. And the target was a guy that died in mysterious circumstances, who had been connected to the government. And the guy's family said, I think he was drugged and slung out of a window, basically. And so they gave him as the target. She had no idea. She was not told it's a person, it's this, it's that. And straight away, she went, I'm drugged, I'm falling, God, I'm seeing psychedelic colours, bang. So she described what happened. And the guys actually got really, really scared because they suddenly realised we're messing with dangerous people here. She vanished after that for a very, very long time. She went into hiding because because obviously scary people are going to come along. And this is early internet. This is very early in the internet. I know her name. I Googled it and my computer crashed and it never, ever came back. I swear to you. And I know some serious techies. They're looking at it going, I don't know what you've done because something's attacked your computer. It was the split second I tapped in her name. So I'm not going to tell you her name. You could probably find out on the internet, but it was mad. But yeah, remote viewing works. And most of them work in industrial espionage these days, but they still use it to find out where prisoners are and various something. It works. There's no question. Multiverse. The thing is, everything's theory, isn't it? There's so many theories, and there's a great guy in America, I've forgotten his name now, and he does this really daft thing where you have to say your name and count to 5 and jump into another universe where you can suddenly play the violin or you've got a wooden leg or something. It's absolutely ludicrous. If you're going to count to 5 and that's going to happen. But yeah, there's a lot of evidence there's a multiverse, but I'm not a scientist and I don't pretend to be. So I know what I do. We can look at various futures, but I don't want to say I'm jumping into another universe because the biggest names don't know. So sure as hell I don't.
I think the only way that some people could really understand what you were just talking about then is that if I have 2 gins, I think I can sing like Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
So there you go. Where are we? Right, I've just got to answer this question. It's got nothing to do with you, Anne. It's just a quick one. Levent, I've just seen your comment. Look, yes, hypnosis can help it, but it is contraindicated. So what you need to do is, as Eric has just mentioned there, is you need to approach your GP and then a suitable hypnotist or hypnotherapist in your area to help you out. Bipolar can be worked with. However, it is contraindicated. Well, I teach it's contraindicated with some very good medical team around me. But on the same token, it's something that you need to approach your doctor, ask them if it's feasible for you in your current condition and the way you are, or the person that you're on about. All right, so I hope that answers the question. Next question: do you think I should read these questions before I say anything, really, shouldn't I? Do you think that what you see in the future is just wishes and dreams, and then you go all out to make that happen?
Do you know, I did worry about I did wonder about that in the early days, but I've seen things that didn't exist that I had that were beyond my comprehension. So when we saw September the 11th, the attack on the Twin Towers, that was unprecedented. Nothing like it had ever happened before. So we had no frame of reference. Okay, I'll tell you one. I went out to Dubai and I took a big group forward, and one of my friends who lives out there was there, and she was airline crew. She had no money, and she saw herself living in this mansion on a wiggly shaped island. There was no wiggly shaped island. It's an island it's a wiggly shaped island off the coast of Dubai. It didn't exist. So you can't wish that, because you wouldn't have had the concept. It's about 4 years later they started talking about Palm Island. She did get a place there and made a fortune on it. She did get it. But I do think it does put you in a better frame of mind. I do think there's an element of we waste time. And I think the time we're living in now, we have far too many options. Therapists are the worst for going on every course, every weekend. Their bloody toolbox. They drive me mad talking about a toolbox. It's just a mishmash of things that don't stop. But it does get you to go, oh, I don't need all that. That's what I do. That's how I do it. So it does get you into a better frame of mind. I think you take yourself more seriously. It could give you a boost of confidence, because there can be an element, but that's not the case all the time. Because one of the things I saw myself on stage just right in my early days, and I'm talking to a big audience, and I tell you, at the time I had really, really bad stage fright. No way would I get on get up in front of an audience. I went to one of the NLP events, and a girl there worked on me for 4 minutes and cleared it. It's amazing how quickly. And a few weeks later, I was invited to talk to 250 people for an hour and a half. I'd have run. I'd have legged it out the door if I'd have seen that big look. But I did it. I was fine. I was actually fine. So yeah. So there's an element.
There you go. Well, it's a bit like future pacing, isn't it? In the NLP world, what we do is the same as with weight loss. We get somebody to imagine what they look like in the future, that perfect body, that perfect weight. Yeah. In some ways, that's the way you're doing it as well. You're just future pacing the person off, aren't you? And you can be doing that, which gives you good goals in that. I always envisage stuff like that. I think, right, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hammer, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this. Stevie Barker, has Anne read any of Anthony Peake's work? I see correlations with Anne's work and the concept of Damon, which is allegedly the part of us that allegedly lives outside of time. So I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I have got one of his books, and I read it ages and ages ago. Now I read so many books, I'm struggling to think of it. But a few people have mentioned him recently, which is usually a sign I need to go back and read his work again. But I've actually got one of his books at the office. But yeah, stepping out of time is really, really interesting. One of the exercises I do is to get people to float off out into the universe and look down on the earth, and they're timeless. They're looking all the changes of the world. It kind of stops you being so worried and upset and frantic in your everyday life, because you're timeless. You're floating through space, it's a really interesting. I will go back and look at his work again, actually, because he is really, really clever guy.
So just a quick one. When you're doing this work, do you get any type of reactions, or what's commonly known as an ab reaction? I don't use the word ab reaction. I tend to use reactions because there's nothing abnormal about a reaction. But do you get reactions?
The thing is, I get more reactions if I'm doing basic hypnotherapy than what I do with this. But the thing is, people who come for this really get it. They're very keen and very open. Now, if I was to go and talk to a general group, I would have reactions. I definitely would. If I was to go and talk to the average hypnotherapy group, you'd have the odd person have a meltdown, blah, blah, blah. Oh, God, I've got wooden leg. It's not good. There's always one in the group anyway. And there's always the drama queen or king in the group. But there's always one. Isn't there? I love them. They're really good fun. But the people that come to us, they're kind of just want to see their future. So we know, very, very, very rare. It's so rare. I can't remember. I don't think I've had two in 20 years. I don't think I've had two.
All right. There you go.
Yeah, very rare.
Okay, so here we go. And what are your beliefs surrounding afterlife and between life experiences before you were introduced to what you do now?
Well, I mean, life between life, people have asked me to incorporate it into my work, but it's not something that interests me. I'm all about the future. Afterlife, yeah. I don't wonder what people mean by that. I regularly get people contact me asking me to talk to dead relatives, basically, and it's just not my thing. I don't do that. There's good mediums out there. It's not my thing. I keep away from it. I like going into the future. I like going into the future. I want to know the future of the world, how we can find a better future. I want to know your future. I want to look at yours and just go, no, there's more to you. That's more my thing. But yeah, life between lives. Some of my practitioners have taken courses. It's not drawn me so far. I've got so much I want to do in the future with this. I mean, I'm now getting a huge amount of interest from the corporate world, because they want the edge. They need to know what's coming up. I had a woman from the Institute of Directors say, "You'll never get this into companies." And I last month, I spent the month in the government's own bank. The government's own bank invited me in for 4 weeks to work with their people, and they loved it. So my last book is about future of business, basically, future of business. So I'm more interested in the world of work. We need to know how the world's going to be. It's going to keep changing. Forget COVID. It's going to keep changing. Your industry is going to keep changing. You need to know what's coming up next. You need to know what your speciality is. That's what really interests me. I'm not really interested in floating about in between lives, but there's people who work with that and they're good at it. And I don't want to talk to dead Aunt Muriel either. It's just doesn't interest me. It's really good people. Spiritualist churches do a great job, so they don't need me on board. That's for sure.
Cool. Well, what was the next question? Just funny, just doing that. Actually, this next one, where is it? What have I just missed here? I've just missed myself. You know, when you touch I've got a Mac, and when you touch the screen, sometimes it goes like that. No, I've just lost myself. Aaron, what's your belief there? George Clooney, that was the one there. Yeah, George Clooney, Many Men Who Stare at Goats. If you haven't seen that, that's quite a good movie. That's
good.
Quite good.
Yeah, it is actually a good film. Yeah, and it was quite interesting because the military just got so woo-woo with it all, and I don't like woo-woo. They did, do you know, they actually gave one guy a huge amount of funding. I can't remember if this was in the movie or not. And he said, I can stop the enemy attacking us. And he came back with a meditation, playing this tinkly music, you know, spiritual music. Stuart Wells, it's like 3 dogs tinkling in a pan, and said, you walk up to the enemy and give them a bunch of flowers. And that gave him millions. So it did get silly. So that was a great movie, actually. But it was a great movie. It was good fun.
There we go. Dolores Cannon. For those who don't know what that is, that's QHHT, if I believe it rightly. There we go. There, founder of quantum hypnotherapy, covers this. Her book Nostradamus. Book on Nostradamus is interesting. She was able to speak to him in France when he was alive. Mind bending.
I'm going to be really honest. I find her really hard work and boring. I bought one of her books and I just kind of read a couple of chapters and I was just nodding off. I just find it a bit heavy going. So she ain't my cup of tea. There's a lot of people I really admire, and she's got a following. You know, people really like her, but it's just not my thing at all. I found it.
Well, Dolores is passed on now, if my facts are right, and her daughter's taken over QHHT now.
Right.
So, but it's for some. If you've never heard of QHHT before with Dolores Cannon, go research it, because it may well be your cup of tea. Like I said a minute ago, respectfully to Anne, this isn't my cup of tea, but it doesn't mean it's not your cup of tea. And like Anne's just said, it's all about what is there. Colette was a Gemini, by the way. That asked that question earlier.
Okay.
There you go. Bit of a clairvoyant, reminds me of dream boards. I'm not going to answer that. Levan, you just got to speak to your doctor, and you need to do that yourself, buddy. There you go. What's this? What is the name of the trainer who disappeared? I've read a whole bunch, and I might recognise the name for verification. Don't know.
Right. You'd have to ask my military mate Dave. His name was Lee something. Lee. I'll have to ask my mate Dave. If you send me a message, I'll ask Dave. He always remembers the name. I forgot the guy's name. he went off to Australia or New Zealand because a lot seemed to happen Hawaii, Australia, and one small part of America. I'm talking about really going back 20 odd years. Do contact me and I'll ask Dave. He always seems to remember the guy's name. I think it was Lee. Yeah, it was Lee something. He loved working with the soldier lads. I mean, he was just. It was. Yeah, he loved it. Yeah, I will find out his name for you.
Yeah, cool. Whoever just posted this about Will Orton, you need to let Facebook allow you to utilize your name. So thanks, whoever. It's just type your name in a moment. I also thought this was all woo-woo until I did a viewing with Will Horton, who I know very well, who trains in the US government, Quantico, whatever. But on the then I did some several future progression courses with Dick Sutphen. I believe that's right.
Yeah, he died a few years ago. Yeah, he's good. Yeah.
Amazing insights we all got. Yeah, that's cool. But that's the thing, isn't it? You know, you just take what you want and then you just make it your own. Also, when you regress and heal past trauma, you heal today and the future of the person.
And it has a knock-on effect. I mean, sometimes when you heal somebody, family members start to get a lot better. It's really weird how you can work with somebody, and if it's been a family pattern, you can sometimes clear it. You suddenly go, my mum stopped being horrible, my sister's started, stop doing bad things or whatever. It can have a knock-on effect. So
yeah. Does FLP, this is David, this is the wife of Mrs. McCollett that just answered that question a minute ago. And they're both sat there in their gym jams in New Zealand with a coffee and no doubt some toast. There you go.
I'm coming out to New Zealand. I must visit. It sounds gorgeous.
Can you tell us when Mr. Biden's going to open the borders up so I can get over there as well? And does FLP give us permission to act on our own intuitive knowledge?
Haven't you already got permission? Don't you just give yourself? I suppose I see what you mean. Yeah, I think I wouldn't say permission. I would say it's a method. One of the things I teach the practitioners, and this spooks people, I teach them how to, when they're working with somebody, they start getting little glimpses and they'll go, I've just seen your new housemate. It's got a green fence. And the person said, that's what I'm seeing. So, yeah, but I think you got permission, but I think it's a method. I think it's a method that does actually show you the future.
Yeah, cool. I've just missed this one off of Eddie as well. I've heard of coincidence where investors invented the same thing in living in the different countries.
Yeah, simultaneous discoveries. I work for a lot of people in Hollywood, and you have to be so careful when you've got an idea to kind of don't let it float out there on the ether, because people pick up on it. It's the most bizarre thing. It's very, in the movie industry, it's very well known, and to an extent books, and inventions. But yeah, simultaneous inventions, simultaneous discoveries. You will find people on opposite ends of the world who've got no way of knowing each other or having access. You're going back years before the internet and various other things. They both come up with the same concept at the same time. We're really aware of it with movies, very aware. Yeah. Obviously, you get some people being sneaky, but there's times when it's been three of us discussing it, so nobody's going to get beyond us three or whatever.
Yeah. So here's to our beautiful little Cynthia. Does the session have the same structure as a PLR, past life regression, for those people watching not having a clue? And is it the client who sees his or her own future events, or is it both of you perceiving together?
But yeah, it's very like past life regression, only we flip it the other way. But I've got a number of techniques I use, but you need some sort of technique where people feel they're moving through time. So, there's lots of different ways. You go on a road or, on a boat or whatever. We've got lots of different ways we teach people. But yeah, you need something. There's different things. I mean, I know people that go, oh, it's the veil, and you walk through the veil and you're in another time. But I like something that gives the concept of time and movement. That's what I like. Are you perceiving it together? It depends on the person. I don't impose a lot, but now and again, especially if I know them pretty well and I know they don't mind, but it's usually we're guiding them, like the past life regression, we're guiding them. We guide them into a kind of experience in their future and finding out what they need to know. And what we do is we do the best bits of the future. We build a really big anchor. We create an anchor because we don't want to wait. You don't want to wait 5 years for good things to happen. We want it now, So we create a big anchor. So we bring the future back into our current consciousness. But yes, and some of the practitioners do pick up, some don't. Some of them are seeing it as well, some aren't.
Happy days. Wendy Cheverton, do you ever get people going the opposite direction in time? For instance, going back instead of forward?
Once, now and again, not often, but now and again. And that's usually a sign there's something they need to clear or they've not dealt with the past. Now and again, they will spontaneously go back and you go, right, we've got to sort out something in your past. So yeah, that does happen. It definitely does happen at times.
There's a question there coming up, so I'm going to put the answer on there straight away. So where we go, comments. Right. Do you get XR asking about the future?
What's XR? What is XR?
Yeah, explain, David.
Yeah, sorry, mister. I don't know what XR
you get
is.
XR asking about the future. No problems. There we go. That was the question I was looking for. David, if you could just explain XR. Maybe we've both missed that. Lindsay Dennison, how do we learn how to do this, please? Well, hang on a minute. Let me just do that.
Come on my training. I've got trainers in various parts of the world. I've kind of buckled under pressure to do the odd training online. I'm not wild about it. I like being amongst people, but just, I've got people in various parts of the world that cannot travel. They just can't get there. And so I am going to do one maybe in a few weeks online. But I do mine in Maidenhead, Berkshire. But one of my girls is, we've got quite a few people that are putting on training. So let us know where you are. And we'll find you your nearest trainer. They're fantastic as well. I tell you what, when I come up to a point where I thought so much is happening, I need help. I thought, look at the people that train with me, and I've got over 20 trainers that are amazing. I don't let everybody become a trainer that wants to. They are amazing. They're in South Africa. They're all over. They're fabulous. French-speaking country. They're amazing. So yeah, let us know where you are.
Right. Do you get Extinct Rebellion asking about the future? Extinct Rebellion.
I wouldn't talk to them. They drive me. I'd kick their ass straight out the door. I would not talk to them. I would not talk to them. Spoiled, entitled little sods. No, I wouldn't talk to them. I don't mind people asking about the future of the world. That's really important. But I'm not going to talk to a load of kids that hold up the traffic because, again, I'm impatient. And it annoys me if they delay me. Yeah. But I'll happily talk to any. I tell you one thing I've got. If you're interested in that, on my website, it's a free download where we look at the world in 50 years' time just to see where it is, what's happening. Then we go to a second future of the world. Best possible future, and we find out what we need to do right now to create the best possible future. So if you're interested in the environment, sitting holding up the traffic when people have got to pick their kids up from school annoys me. But let's go and find what we really need to do to create an incredible world. We've got children, we've got grandchildren. Let's be serious about it.
Yeah, happy days. I think Extinct Rebellion went and blocked off a main road in London today, didn't they? And caused all types of...
It annoys me because I know I live in the real world. It's all right for people going out on their bikes and they've got all day to do nothing. But I live in the real world. Where I'm from, people haven't got it easy. They've got elderly parents they need to get to a hospital. They're trying to work and bring up kids. It's not easy, and I feel for people. So that... obviously we all want to create a better world, and that is a major part of what I do. But I don't think a load of brats are going to do that by holding up the traffic. I think we got to kind of do some good stuff. So I'm not patient with them because I know so many people. I've had people burst into tears. They've missed their hospital appointment because of them. I'm not amused by them. So yeah. And
apparently it was Rexford North, the hypnotist that disappeared. Does that make sense?
No,
Beryl.
No.
All right.
What's that?
It's our Beryl about the hypnotist that disappeared. I don't know. Anyway, there's a little.
I don't know. Hello, Beryl.
Our Beryl. Beryl, can you text me after this, please? David McHugh's giving you a calling to New Zealand. There we go.
Yeah, I've actually got a guy that's going to be my agent there, and he's a terrific guy, Baron, and we're trying to set it up. So I would love to come out. I mean. Yeah, I would absolutely love to come out. We're planning that. Obviously, things are a bit difficult at the moment. But yeah, no, we're planning. I would love to come out. I mean, I could do it online, and we've talked about it, but I'd actually really like. You know what it's like, Cole. You get in amongst people. It's an energy thing, isn't it? You have that connection.
What's your views on Bruce Lipton's work?
It is just phenomenal, and it is just phenomenal. I haven't read anything recently, but I have read quite a lot of his books about 5 years ago. No, it's phenomenal. I mean, wow, yeah, just it's hard to argue with. You can't argue with people like Bruce Lipton. I mean, his research is just spot on. Really, really clever.
It's quite interesting, right? Because I'm just gonna highlight something, right? That's just happened. Anyway, I'm just gonna do this one first, and I'm gonna do the next two that are underneath it, and then you'll find it funny. Is there anything like an out-of-body experience, and do you need to protect them?
That's an interesting one. It's not like an out-of-body experience. No, your mind travel. It's a bit like Amit Goswami says, the yoga of mind travel. Your mind, Dr. Rupert Sheldrake, who I did do a little experiment with once, he said your brain is inside your head, but your mind can travel anywhere. We know that. Telepathy. How can you send a message to your aunt halfway across the world? Over 2,000 studies conclusively prove it works. Your mind can travel. So it's more mind travel. Out-of-body experience, it is a different subject. My dad used to have out-of-body experiences, and it's very, very interesting. So, and there's been some clever studies into it. But yeah, no, it's not the same thing, no.
Right. So Colette is in New Zealand, and Kerry is in Whittam in Essex, right? And these were done 17 seconds apart from each other. Ready?
Yep.
How far into the future have you been with the client? And Kerry Potts, 17 seconds later, what's the furthest you've ever taken anyone into the future?
Right. This is an interesting one. So I was given a big talk in London, and it was a big group, alternative. They had a really big group. This guy said, have you ever gone a really long way? And I said, well, I've gone 1,000 years into the future, but it's like we're more energy by then. It's not as we are now. It's almost like a cave person asking you questions, and you began, look, mate, you know, you're not going to understand how we live today. Okay, but it's so far advanced, I didn't quite know what to do with it. And so I kept working with it. Now I take groups about more than 1,000 years. And it's a profound experience, is what I would say. Profound experience. But the knowledge we get from our future selves more than 1,000 years is mind-blowing. That's when my life, I had another big shift, another big escalate forward. It changes you. It will change. It changes your outlook on life. It's phenomenal going 1,000 years. I wrote about that in my 4th book about going 1,000 years. And I've actually got, if you contact me, I'll send you a download where you can take a little journey yourself. It's mind-blowing stuff going that far.
There you go. So just on that note, just so people have got this, I'm just doing that. If you want to contact Anne, by the way, it's www.annejirsch.com. Just go do that. Go to our website quite now, and there's all training, there's all bits and bobs that you can go on there and go have a look at. But it was quite interesting that those two haven't come up all night, and it was 17 seconds apart, and they're one's in Whittam in Essex and the other one's down in New Zealand. Quite interesting.
Yes, it's funny how things happen. I was once on the BBC Morning News, and they asked me to talk about ghosts, which isn't really my thing. And they keep that Professor, I think they keep Professor Wiseman in a cupboard, and they just wheel him out every so often. So they brought him out, and it was quite funny. He was going, well, I don't think there's a... And then there was this almighty crash across the studio, and everyone jumped and went, what was that? And I just went...
There you go. Here we go. The environment's button. I like Peter Cripps. I love your attitude towards extinct rebellion.
Not always popular.
Online would be great. Anyone training in NZ. Right, we've got that one. My own belief. Let's have a look. I need to read this stuff out really tonight. I take the time. My own beliefs about time ultimately reflects and shows up in my hypnosis with others. I expect your own beliefs affect what others think of the future. Yes or no?
I think people have already got their beliefs. I don't know. I mean, I might affect from the point of view, most people have heard me talk, be interviewed, or they've read one of my books. So I suppose I could be influencing them from the point of view they've already heard me talk about it, or they've read one of my books. So possibly, yeah, possibly.
Why does Freddie turn up everywhere? That man is everywhere. I'm sure he's just following me. You know, I have used Freddie Jacquin's time machine to move people into the future, and it seems to work. What do you think about that?
Do you know, I didn't know he even did that. His name pops up, but I don't know the guy, and I've never seen him. Yeah,
Freddie's lovely.
I've
Freddie's
heard
lovely.
good things. I have heard good things. I said one of the few people who I would, learn something from, go on a training. He's one of the few. I kind of bowed out of most of the groups and keep away from most hypnotherapists. Sorry, guys, but there's a lot of strange trainers out there. But I've heard good things about. There really is.
Yeah.
But I've heard really good things about Freddie. But I didn't know he did a time machine thing. I didn't know he did that. So
Freddie's got his fingers in all types of pies. That's what he is. He's lovely, and one thing he is bad at is buying me drinks in Las Vegas. He does sneak off. That's what I'm going to say. I'm just going to say that. Really, just leave that one in there.
I've only heard good about him. I've only heard good. Guys, one thing I would say is look at my other website, Future Vision Training, because I'm taking things in a bit of a new direction. And I tell you one thing quick, that I'm going to do a little experiment to go forward and have a look at the future of cryptocurrency. I think I'm only going to have sort of like a small group, and we're going to have a little experiment. I think it's good to try things out. I think for people that are into crypto, they will like that. Have a little experiment. Don't gamble the farm, but we'll have a peek.
Yeah. Well, the other thing, I'm just getting your website up because I didn't know this one existed. Either way, you can get Anne, by the way. You can get Anne via the other website I've given you, and she'll point you in the right direction. But if I just bang this up because I wasn't aware of it, then we got this here. Paste.
If you Google Anne Jirsch, you're going to get me, because there isn't another one with that name, fortunately. That's the one, Future Vision. That's my newer work. That's
there we go.
From my new book, where I give people strategies to anticipate the future of work, because it's going to keep changing. It's going to keep changing.
Well, don't forget, guys, all you got to do is just type in Future Vision Training. It'll come up anyway. Where are we here? Protests change the world by inconvincing people. We women wouldn't have a vote without it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I totally get what you're saying. But if there's another thought that if protests changed anything, they ban it. So I don't think most of them. I don't mind people protesting. A friend of mine stopped the Queen from chopping down a tree. How'd that, my friend Graham? And he did. She stopped. It can make change, but there's ways to go about it. And
stop. Yeah, I think stop. I think our point is stopping emergency vehicles getting to emergencies. Is my biggest fluster on that one. Risking people's lives for future events now doesn't bite it. So we get what you're saying, Colette, but you're absolutely right. But there is a ways and means of doing it and putting people's lives at risk, which I know from talking from Met colleagues and London Ambulance Service is what they do. They're consistently doing that, and they won't let ambulances through. They won't let police through, anything like that. So that's the danger. That's the bit we're talking about, the arsehole element. We get what they're talking about, and we need to change. We get that bit, but on the same token, it's the arsehole element that want to kill people now, not the future people. And their excuse is, well, they would have died earlier anyway. That was one of their excuses on Sky TV once. But yeah, you're absolutely right. You are right. Beryl has come up with this again. Rexford North set up the NGH. Oh yeah, that is where I got that name from. A very famous hypnotist in the USA, then disappeared, never found. Oh, okay. There we go. When I was a kid,
I will look for him. I shall look for him. There
you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So Beryl, if you can contact Anne afterwards, she'll be able to do that for you. When I was a kid, 75 years ago, my dad would say things in Star Trek that would come true. Now we all have our own personal communicators. We even have heart monitors on our wrist. Yes, absolutely. And it wasn't 75 years ago.
Who's the guy that wrote, I think it's called Stand on Zanzibar. He predicted dozens and dozens and dozens of things that have happened. Stand on Zanzibar. Look him up and look up his prediction. Sci-fi writers have been incredibly accurate. They have been so accurate about the future. They really have. Yeah. It's mind-blowing.
Well, Nostradamus got a couple of things right as well, didn't he? And
he got the thing is with Nostradamus, I actually took his predictions that were still to happen. This was in early 70s, I wrote them down and none of them happened. So it's open to that's one of those where you can fit it in. So it's like, I work as a psychic, but you can see a psychic and go, letter M's going to be lucky. You know, somebody with a black heart, you'll fit it in. So there's a difference between that and really knowing stuff. So Nostradamus, 4 different languages written in code. So it's open to interpretation, I think. So I don't take a lot of notice. I mean, the stuff I wrote down in order to wait and see if it did happen, it didn't. It was fitted in afterwards, if you see what I mean.
So there's a question here, and I'm going to answer this, and then I want you to see what your view is on this. Where are we here? Here we go. Well, I'm going to answer this as well. What do you think the future of hypnosis, will it be more accepted? Right. Top tip of the day. The reason it is not as accepted and widespread as it is at the present moment in time is because we as a profession are not educating people enough. And a lot of people sit there going, and a lot of these organized, this is why I don't buy into accreditation. I don't buy into any of the governing bodies, because they're a load of bullshit and they're strangling the living shit out of the profession. They strangle it. They're not doing anything except strangling it, and all they do is dampen creativity. That's all they do. Oh, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that. That's why I run a successful business. Paul McKenna runs a successful business. Mine's not as successful as his. Darren Brown runs one and he's doing hypnosis. You look at all the successful people, they're not in it. No. What we need to do is not be in these shitty organizations. You need to get onto a camera and educate the public and the masses more. That's my personal opinion on that. But Anne, have you ever, in your experience with future life regression, had any inkling on what's going on there?
I just think it will be much more the norm in the future. I mean, you know, the next big territory to explore is the mind. I mean, we have learned, look how much we've grown and learned in the last 10 years. It's got messy right now. And as you say, I've got a pile of certificates and associations. I came out of all of them. They're a mess. And as you say, they're restrictive. I don't belong to anything and I never will. They're run by very odd little people. So I don't get, but I think it will be the norm. We are understanding how the brain works, how the mind works, how we can control the mind. Absolutely. I just think it will be far more commonplace. It will be far more the norm in the future, hypnotherapy. Why wouldn't it be? It works. I mean, we know it, the effect on people. I think we'll be better at it. I think we'll get rid of a lot of the silly sideline therapies and we will have a lot more science behind it. No, I definitely see it far more in use in the future.
Beata, hello sweetheart, hope you're well, hope you're fine. Do you think that we can take ourselves into the future with self-hypnosis? Carl, thanks for bringing Anne in. Well, we love Anne.
Thank you. Yeah, of course you can. Yeah. I mean, I've got downloads. If you want a download where you're going to peek yourself, just tell me what you want and I'll send it to you. But yeah, you can mind travel. People do often mind travel. Just close your eyes and just imagine, say, that you're floating on a cloud and you're going to move forward 2 years, then down into 2 years, and just take what comes to you. Just do it. Just take what comes to you. Don't let the other side of your brain get in the way and question it. Just take what comes and then see if it's accurate.
Yeah. Quite a serious one here. I would like to remind Anne that forward time travel didn't work out too well for Marty McFly in Back to the Future.
I didn't, did it? Yeah, we should have come to me, shouldn't he?
Right, guys, we are coming to the end of this. Look, guys, there is tons of questions here. I'm just going to pop this last one up. You would love one of my favorite films, Somewhere in Time. Christopher Reeves go back in time using hypnosis. Find it on YouTube. There we go. There we go. So, guys and girls, I'm really, oh, wait, hang on a minute. What's this one here? A person has vivid colored real images when their eyes are closed. That person can get images from anywhere part of their timeline, even from the world. Handon. Yeah. Well, the brain works in colors and metaphors, not in words. That's why I work with modalities more than I do words and shutting up. That's why I work the way I am. Right, guys, we are going to have to knock it on the head because we're coming up to an hour and I've not eaten yet. So that's another thing as well why I'd like to. So, guys, look, Anne's website is practitioners of Future Vision Training. So you can go to futurevisiontraining.com, go speak to Anne, or go to annejirsch.com and contact her that way about anything that you'd like to do. And I'm seeing now that lots of you are looking at her website right now. Or you're going to look at it in the next hour, all right? You're going to look at it within the next hour. Some of you are going to go to that website. I can see it right now. So there we go, right? So this stuff does work. And look, it's like I said, it's about being respectful about other people. Some people may watch this and say, bullshit. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. Some people tell me hypnosis is bullshit. That's fucking fine. You know, I don't mind. But on the same token, the point being is that this is Anne's thing, Anne's belief. Anne teaches people, and that's what she does. And if that makes her happy and others happy, hypnosis makes me happy. And if you don't like it, just fuck off and unsubscribe and do something else. But the thing is, but that's the point, you see, is that, you know, a lot of people are like, I'm offended. Oh, and that's the thing, you see. So look, guys, look, put some likes on wherever you are. If you've enjoyed this with Anne tonight, please put some likes up. What's this? Where else could we meet people like Anne? Thanks, Carl. Well, here's one for you. Let me ask her off air, but we might be able to entice Anne to our firewalk on the 2nd and 3rd of October. Let's see what happens there. I haven't asked her yet. We've got a firewalk coming up on the 2nd, 3rd of October in Birmingham. So,
wow, I don't need to do the firework, do I? I don't need to do that, do I?
Well, you're in the wheelbarrow with Freddie Jacquin, because Freddie Jacquin's presenting and he's refused to do it. So I'm going for those people refusing to do it, you're all going in a wheelbarrow and you are going over the coals, except in the wheelbarrow.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So there we go. Anyway, if you look into the future, you'll see you'll have more confidence by then, Anne. And, you know, at the end of the day, you'll be able to do it. But, yeah, it's going to be in Birmingham. I'll talk to you off air about that. Yeah, But, yeah, so, guys, don't forget, if you are in the UK, 2nd and 3rd of October, Hypnosis, Hypnotic Masterminds Masterclass. We've got hopefully some more guest speakers coming in, but Freddie Jacquin's joining us, Kaz Riley's joining us, Sammy Blendell's joining us, Alex Reed, famous cage fighter in the UK, he'll be joining us as well. And Dave Ash is going to be doing a firewalk with him, several other presenters that are going to be there as well. So that'd be really good. And if I can get Anne along, she can probably do a presentation and probably a demo on FLP while she's there. And it's just, this, right, I'm going to make it clear now, this is the 2nd and 3rd, the October gig, is not about me making money. Any money that's left over after I paid for your food and your drinks all day, right, out of the 150 quid, and I paid for all the firewood and that type of stuff there, all the rest of the money is going to charity. Do you know why I'm doing this 2nd and 3rd of October? Because we've all been cooped up for a long time, punching away on keyboards, and I just want to get everybody in a room, have a laugh, have a joke, have a couple of Ribenas at the end of the night, and just enjoy ourselves and just meet some people who I love being near as well. Because it's been a proper pants time over the past 2 years. And if we can have you there on the 2nd and 3rd of October, go to UK Hypnosis Academy, go to this, you don't have to have any experience, go to that website there, and you'll see the 2nd and 3rd of October. Come during that. Love this interview, train with her, and I recommend it. I don't know who that was, but thank you very much for your comment. Great topic. Thank you very much. Thank you, Anne. Bye for all, and see you now. Guys, don't forget, Anne, if you want to stay on just afterwards, guys, don't forget that, you know, please put a thumbs up, a like this, or share it with people who are like-minded, who may be interested on doing anything with Anne in the future. And don't forget, guys, as ever, be safe out there. Hope you and your families are safe in the current climate, in that crazy ass world. And don't forget, at the end of the day, get out there and go practice. And when you finish practicing, that's it. Go practice some more. Guys, it has been an absolute blessing to have Anne with us tonight. I love her dearly, and I look forward to seeing you all at 7:30 tomorrow UK time for another hypnotist night. Here we go. Guys, be safe out there. Take care, and I'll see you all very, very soon. All the best for now. Thanks, Anne. Bye.
You're welcome.